ho, and hello, Mary had the visceral reaction that I thought that she would have if I did that. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Universal Church of Truth. I am one half of your hosts, Hunter.
I'm the other half of your hosts, Mary.
Yes. And we are here today. We are gathered here today to talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. This is both a video breakdown and a follow-up to our spin-off series, Theory Thursday with Hunter and Mary. So we will address some of those fun theories we came up with to see whether we were right or wrong. This is also probably maybe one of the last videos from us of this year, because there's really not much else unless we think of something else. So I am in the festive spirit. As you can see, I'm wearing my holiday hat. I am in pajamas. We are hosting. This is probably the first time I've been to church on Christmas in a long time, like a decade. Because it's the universal church, but it is what it is. And nothing says church quite like a deep V-neck that won't button. So that is where we're at. Mary, how you feeling today?
I'm fine. I don't feel like that's that deep of a V. Like I wouldn't.
It's deeper than I would like. If
Okay.
we're being honest with
I mean,
ourselves.
clearly, if you
had one more button.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. I don't have much to add because you really let us let this video so valiantly. Yeah. So I'm so excited to talk
is
about
one way to put it. Really, we just hit record and I start talking. And then I talk until I hand it off to Mary, and that's worked to a degree so far.
Millions of followers, yeah.
I'm also drinking eggnog. I'd like to throw that out there. Because it's festive. We're festive. Listen, if you're not feeling festive and you're watching this, pause it. Pause it right now. Go get yourself some eggnog or some cider. Put on some comfy PJs. Turn on some background music. I don't know, or don't. If whatever, don't prohibit being able to hear us. But get into the spirit.
Throwing us out.
Ignore us. If you're listening to this,
I'm gonna say that. I am not a festive person, so to all the people Hunter just alienated and trash talked, it is okay if you're not a festive person. I am not.
Okay, well, I would also like to say that I never said that they had to be festive. I was saying, like, go do the thing. They don't know if I. Okay. Anyway.
He hates you. He hates you.
Yeah. I wasn't just trying to have fun. This was actually an attack on your character.
V and the Santa Claus hat. That's his attack mode. So if you ever see him like this again,
well,
he's coming for you.
I'm your worst nightmare, is what Mary's saying. But that's okay. We're doing whatever we want here because this is our show. And you know what they say, Mary? I just thought of this right now. You know what they say, Mary? What, Hunter?
What? Okay, what, Hunter?
There ain't no laws when you're drinking nog.
Okay, well, there are. But no, you do. This is our show. Very little oversight, if any. It's unclear, so we're we really don't know. So
one day we might get fired, and one day, I don't know. Who's to say? Enjoy us while we last is what we're trying to say to you right now. Anyway, Mary.
Hunter.
I'm going to start things off the way that I always start things off. And that is by saying, hey, friend, what are your thoughts, feelings, and emotions on the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special? What did you think? What were your general thoughts?
I am more or less, not in the minority per se, but like the less excited minority. I thought it was fine. I didn't hate it. I hate Christmas movies. I hate Christmas themed TV episodes. I hate Christmas music. I just don't. I hate it all. And so that doesn't help when it is very much a Christmas themed show slash movie, somewhere kind of mashed in between there. And I thought it was cute. Like the heartwarming stuff was exactly what I would have expected. I don't know. It was just like, if you like the Guardians of the Galaxy and you like Christmas stuff, which means you like corny, mushy stuff, you're gonna like it. Like there's nothing wrong with it. I just kind of I left that experience not moved to like ever necessarily want to watch it again. Um, but without animosity in my heart either. So I'm a little biased, I guess. I don't like Christmas things. I don't like it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I will say, kind of crazy that we've made it. We're a good like 6 minutes into our second Christmas themed video before I found out that Mary does not like Christmas things.
It's not a popular opinion. People come after me,
No,
man.
it's okay. I'm fine. I'm not against it at all. I just think it's funny that we already did like a whole video talking about it and you never brought that up.
That was business mode. This is like some other mode. I don't know. I don't know.
But this isn't business for you.
No, last time was business. This is something else.
Theorizing is business.
Exactly.
Okay.
I will say for I don't know if comparison's the right word, but we got the screeners a few days early, right? And then I did not watch it right away. I realized the time was running out to watch it, and I was like, "Ooh, I guess I'll watch it." So like that's the level of excited I was, and it was fun.
Yeah, I got the screener before it came out. I was out of state doing family stuff, so I didn't get a chance to watch it ahead of time. So I ended up watching it like when it came out, and I I know. But listen, hear me out here. You're gonna hate this, but me and because I didn't get a chance to watch it ahead of time, that provided the opportunity for me to watch it with like my whole family, my whole extended family. Like we all sat down and like watched it as a unit the day after Thanksgiving when it came out. And it was like very sweet and we all enjoyed it, and maybe that like enhanced my experience of it. Like I think that I might have processed it differently had I watched it like alone in my room the first time I saw it, as opposed to like the day after Thanksgiving and there's like family appreciation in the air and we're all watching this like lovely Christmas special about family. So like that maybe enhanced it, to be fair. And I actually am glad that ended up being my first viewing experience, just because like I think that's kind of how it was meant to be watched anyway. Um, I will say my thoughts and opinions on it. Yeah, it's not like the craziest best MCU thing that's ever been made. I didn't think that it would be, but as someone who does enjoy like being festive or like getting into things just for the fun of it and the joy of it, I didn't really like it. And I also really like, I mean, in the same way that, Werewolf by Night, the first special presentation, really embraced like this is the genre and style of filmmaking that has inspired this special presentation. So we're going to go all in on it. I feel like the Guardians Holiday Special did the same thing. It had all the tropes, like it had the animated flashbacks and cutaways. It had like the Christmas musical numbers. It had the themes of family, and it had like learning a Christmas message, and it had yada yada yada, all of it. Obviously, it was all skinned like the Guardians, but it very much was like a holiday special. It was just a Guardians version. And I really appreciated that, and I did really like it. Um, it's probably, I mean, it might be one of those things that I end up watching yearly, but it's not like my favorite Christmas thing of all time. Um, but yeah, I would say I really liked it, and I would also say that it seeded or planted or whatever you might want to say, like a surprising amount of stuff for Guardians Volume 3, maybe
Yeah,
like one or two more things. than
It
I
was
thought it
like,
would.
yeah, we're here now. Yeah, we're with Cosmo Space Dog. Yeah, so like it did, yeah, it just kind of said those things were there that we
Right.
didn't.
I should say, like, I think that we'll maybe get like a more of an explanation in volume three, or honestly, some of it I don't even think it needs to be like super elaborated on. But I should say, like, I wasn't expecting the whole thing to open with like, we bought nowhere from the collector, and this is our base of operations now, and like Cosmo's still here, so now Cosmo's like kind of part of the gang. I was like, whoa, that like off the bat, that's like a huge implication for the third movie and like a whole like comic based thing and yada yada. Yeah.
Yeah, gotta.
As
Yeah,
as the more I talked about liking it, the more it looked like you were sinking into liking it less.
first of all, to compare it to Werewolf by Night, even in the way that you compared it, I think is just rude. Like I think Werewolf by Night, like they both have their tropes of their different genres they're going for, but like Werewolf by Night was like really good. Like it was like really good and like different enough, at least for Marvel standards. You know, I'm not gonna like piss off all the true film lovers out there, but I don't know. It's just like it felt Guardians of the Galaxy felt like they took some time off of filming a different movie to very quickly make a sweet little Christmas thing, which is fine. I have nothing wrong with it. I just don't find it that cool. And also, okay, two entire song numbers. I didn't need that at the beginning and the end. I really didn't like either of them enough to like want to listen to
But
the
that's
whole.
another like Christmas thing. Like the holiday specials always have like big musical numbers in them for no reason.
But
It's
they
just
were
part of
really
it.
good. Like, God, I just I felt like
I liked
50%
both
they
of
were
them.
getting wrong. And I'm like, okay. Um, I just, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like it rose to any kind of level that like Werewolf by Night rose to in terms
I
of what
wouldn't. That's not what I meant when I
I
said
know
that.
it's not
Like,
what
I
you
still think
meant.
Werewolf by Night is like way better than the Guardians Holiday Special. I just think that like they both special presentations took a similar route of like we have a shtick that we're doing and we're gonna like fully go into it.
Kind of, except it's Christmas. Like that shtick's not like that complicated or like
I
interesting.
know. I'm not saying that it's like the
Just sort of
craziest shtick.
decorated in places. End it with, oh my gosh, really sweet gifts, but you guys are my real gift, guys. That's like the entirety of a Christmas thing.
Very.
That's the whole trope. Like that's
I
it.
kind of feel like you just don't like
I
Christmas and you're taking
don't
it
like
out on the special.
I don't like Christmas themed media. I don't have anything against like, well, I don't decorate or do anything either, but I don't like hate the day. I don't know. It's just so corny.
It
It's just
just it
so corny.
feels like your complaints are just like you just don't like the genre at all. So
I
this
know, that's what I'm trying to say.
I know.
But I think there's still valid
This
criticisms
feels like a
because the
really
genre,
uphill battle.
because the genre is trash. It didn't help the special be like amazing, right? That's still fair. You can't just say, "Oh, because it's Christmas and it did Christmas stuff, it's great." That's not fair either. You can't just give it a
That's
pass.
not even what I'm saying.
Seems like that's what you're saying.
I think
Mm.
it was really good. I think that okay. So I was saying I like that as a Christmas special, it did Christmas things. That's like step one of being a Christmas special. But I also liked it as like a prologue to volume three. Like I liked seeing the Guardians interact together again. I thought that was very sweet. I liked I mean, not drastic, but small evolution of Mantis that we see in this. I think that was really nice. I think that the moment between her and Peter at the end was very sweet. I did feel kind of moved by that, um, and I like the implications that sets up for Volume Three. I I mean, you said you disliked the song, but in my opinion, I liked the songs that they did personally. I did. Not just because they were Christmas. Like the first one, I thought was kind of funny, and I liked the way that like Peter was reacting to it throughout. That did give me a good chuckle. Um, I don't know, the comedy landed for me. I also really liked the Peter Yondu relationship. I've always really loved, so I really liked that that was like the bookends to it. The father son stuff in the MCU always gets to me. I don't know why. So like I thought that was really sweet, and I liked that that was like the the origin for like the quad blasters and all of that stuff. Like I don't know, I liked it for more than just the fact that it was Christmas themed. I just like in the same way, the opposite of what you were saying earlier. Like if they advertised it as a Christmas special and then I watched it and there wasn't a lick of Christmas stuff in it, then I would have been like, well, this isn't a good Christmas special because there's nothing in it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Everyone fucking loves Christmas movies. I get it. Like, I understand. The only Christmas movie I do like one, and it is on Netflix, and it's called Klaus. And the only reason I think I like it is because it like invents Christmas throughout the entire film. So Christmas doesn't even exist yet until the very end of it, which is so sad. Oh my God, it's like depressing as hell, but it's great. So in general, yeah, I just don't like it. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
Yay.
moving past that, I do have a list. Well, I have two lists. I have a list of our theories from the Theory Thursday we did. So we can go down that and see what we got wrong and what we got right. And then I also just took a list of like general notes of like potential talking points. But let's go down the list first, which I exited out of and then like immediately lost. There it is. Our first theory that was really less of a theory and more of like kind of obvious was that it would be more or less standalone. Um, yeah, like it does. I guess we'll have to wait until volume 3 technically to see like how true that is, but I feel like you can watch this. Well, I don't know.
I think I think it is. I mean, to the extent we got like little seedlings of things that will be in volume 3, they were literally like that small. Like they were there to mention that it's going to be in volume 3, essentially, more or less. So I think it's pretty standalone. Like, I don't think there was enough of those little things for it to really like, in terms of watching it, like have to connect to other things, I guess.
That's fair. Um, one theory I got wrong was I thought there'd be like potentially a cold open like bad guy fight or something in the beginning. Obviously, that did not happen. They didn't do anything like that. Mary's theory that there would be no antagonist was 100% correct. You said question?
No, I said crushed it. I forgot about
Crushed.
that one, so I feel really good. So.
Yeah, and in fact, and I made a note of this as well. Not only did Mary get that right, but James Gunn himself went on Twitter and was talking and confirming and bragging about the fact that this is the first ever MCU project to not have a villain.
I crushed it.
Crushed it.
Super
Confirmed.
smart. Super great at this.
Really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really good. We did theorize that it would be Mantis and Drax centric, but that was also less of a theory and more of like kind of obvious. But it was. It does. This very much did turn out to be like the Drax Mantis spinoff. That James Gunn got. Maybe not the one he originally envisioned, but the one he got to do. And they were very much like the central figures in it. I will ask you, special aside, how did you feel about like like their duo, like their relationship in this?
I liked it. I mean, I feel like I don't. To me, at this point, Drax feels like, at least how he was in this, like the same as he's been. You know, there wasn't anything much new to him. I think, kind of like you said with Mantis, like we got a little bit more from her, not only in the, revealed that she's Peter's sister or whatnot, but just like she got more of the spotlight than Drax did, I think. So we got a lot more of her personality and things like
Absolutely.
that. And I did really like that. Yeah, just like even the things of like when when one of the cop cars was like flipped over and she's like, just take this little like this thing, you'll be fine. Like she had a lot of good moments like that, and I do think her personality actually got enough time to like kind of breathe and exist more than she has in the past, which I know she hasn't been in too much yet, but yeah.
I do feel like Mantis got. I almost felt like she got more screen time in this than all of Volume 2. She was really, really good. Also, like one very sweet. Like I like her and Drax as a duo. Like I think the reason they work is because they have sort of like the good cop bad cop going on. Especially when they had that like fight scene against the cops, and he is like totally willing to just murder them, and she's like, we can't just kill people, and like that's all very sweet and fun. Um, but I will say she was also like low key kind of terrifying in this, or high key kind of terrifying in certain scenes, like especially that scene when Kevin Bacon is like sprinting up the stairs and she's lunging from like pillar to pillar and hissing. That was like actually kind of scary. I was like, oh, I'm not expecting this.
Yeah, she had a lot of mannerisms that were like newer to us and also like a little like discomforting. Like, so I will agree with that.
Like when she
Um,
drank the alcohol and just like sprayed out whatever that was.
yeah, I know there's so many questions about her physiology, but yeah. And then had she like previously like mind controlled people before?
I
I
don't
didn't.
think so. I thought it was just like emotional manipulation, not like, which I guess like she kind of emotionally manipulated Kevin Bacon to be into it or stuff like that. But I feel like she was straight mind controlling people in this, and that felt new to me too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I thought that was.
I also feel like when she was just taking people out with the like hand to hand combat stuff, I don't think we have really seen her fight like that before either.
No, she mostly was like, I don't know, doing shit on the sidelines, kind of, in my memory.
Yeah,
She,
I
she
feel
did,
like
did get to jump onto Thanos' head, for a
right.
bit.
I do feel like this special gave like it explained to me a little bit more how she could function as a member of the Guardians on a field level as opposed to just like a strategic member of the team,
Yeah.
which I thought was really really cool. Um, Continuing to go down our list, uh, no Gamora. You said no Gamora. You got that right too. There was, I mean, they mentioned Gamora's name, but there was no appearance. I had the theory that um, Peter might at one point stare longingly at a picture of Gamora while dramatic music played, and that did not happen. Um, I thought that was a pretty safe bet. I won't lie, and it turns out I was wrong again. Um, we had some Groot theories. Again, James Gunn is
You
kind of.
had so many Groot theories. You were so into Groot.
I am. I was enamored by Groot's physiology. I won't lie. This is so it's being called Swole Groot. Like James Gunn has said that they call him Swole Groot. Um, he's like kind of an adult now. I mentioned in Theory Thursday that James Gunn has been saying like every other day since 2014 that this is not the same Groot that died, and this is like that Groot's son. And he has once again reaffirmed this on Twitter and has said that this is not the same Groot. This is the original Groot's kid, essentially. And that this Groot is just growing different. So, is where the original Groot was kind of taller and skinnier, this Groot is supposedly a little bit shorter and stockier instead. Um, Still kind of got a baby face though, so part of me still wants to call him Babyface Groot, but that's just me.
I mean, in the, I say episode, but special, someone called him a kid, like specifically, like, oh, he's just a kid. So, I mean, I feel like that also implies like this is not final form swole. Well, it's to be swole Groot, but not final form sun sun Groot. I don't know.
It
Yeah.
feels weird to call him Swole Groot and also call him a child.
Well, and I feel like I know the tweet you're talking about because James Gunn said YA Groot, young adult Groot,
Yeah,
or swole Groot. So that also implies my thing was young adult Groot. So I'm kind of close, but I get it's not as catchy as swole Groot.
young adult Groot also works though. If that makes anyone more comfortable than calling him Swole Groot, go for it because it's also correct.
Is like Hunter right now feeling uncomfortable about your feelings for a fictional tree, you can call him young adult Groot.
Yeah. I'm pretty what do I want to say? I'm not uncomfortable with my feelings for the fictional tree. I think that I know. I'm saying if you guys are uncomfortable in your feelings for the fictional tree, there are options. That's I will continue to call him Swole Groot because that's how I feel he is. But if that makes you uncomfortable, that at the beginning of this video I learned that I need to like give the audience more options. And so I'm trying to do that now. I have one more thing about Swole Groot, and I really want to talk about it. I think it's really important. Um, I'm not gonna lie. I was recently on another podcast where I brought up this same point, and they offered an explanation that kind of works. And it disappointed me because I liked living in a reality where there was no explanation for this, and I don't like that I now have one in my head. So I'm going to present it to you and see if you also come up with the same explanation immediately in the way that they did, because you're a lot smarter than me, so you might. Um, I really enjoy that Swole Groot, as thick as he is, and like made paper mache. Like I enjoyed picturing him making like really intricate paper mache with those really fat hands.
And what's your question?
My question is, how did he do it?
Well, I mean, the first thing you could say is he's just really good at having big hands. But doesn't he also have
I
leaves
like
and
to
shit?
think
Yeah, he's got the leaves and whatnot. He could make those into fun things.
that's what they said, that he would just like,
Hands, man.
I know, they were like, well, he can just take his fingertips and like grow them to be skinnier and then like do the paper mache. But for me, that's not as much fun as thinking about Groot being really good at paper mache with his big hands.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, for a lot of reasons.
I just thought other people would have as much fun with this as me.
Listen, the beautiful thing about fiction is that it is fiction. And if you want to believe
I
that
do.
he made it with his big old chubby hands, you have no reason not to. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just no, it's like people in the canon debate with whatever show they like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, if you think about it too hard, it gets rough. But if you want it to be canon, just think of it as canon. Like, it does not matter. Point being, I'm sure Groot has that ability with his tactile skills to do what you want him to do. You are a little obsessed with this young adult Swole Tree, but
We'll remind the viewers at home that he is a fictional tree.
that doesn't help.
That's the more important part, I think. um. Also, just while we're on the half on the topic, um, Groot. There's like two instances of fourth wall breaking in this that also really caught me off guard. So I was like, oh, the Guardians break the fourth wall now. That's, whatever. I don't even care that much. Um, one of them being this one, I think you can get away with saying it's not a fourth wall break, but like the end of those paper mache when he gives the one to Kraglin, and it just is the moment that's happening right then.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
It was funny, and I got a good chuckle out of it. And then I was like, was that a fourth wall break? And then I thought, no, it's not. Because you know what? I just like picturing Groot like going out of his way to do things that he probably didn't actually do in canon. I like the thought that in canon, Groot couldn't think of a moment he enjoyed with Kraglin that he wanted to like make into paper mache, or like he just couldn't think of something for Kraglin. So he was like, I'm gonna make a paper mache of the moment he opens the present because that's gonna be his best moment with me is opening this present. And then he made the paper mache and then did his very best to stage the opening of the present so that it would look exactly like the paper mache when he opened it. That's my theory.
Well, it is also a fictional Christmas special. You have some deep thoughts about that, but I like it.
I do.
I like I like the idea that he couldn't think of anything else, so the best is like a future moment.
Other people even got paper mache moments that Groot was not there for, and
Yeah, I couldn't really figure out what the like if there was like a logical Oh,
No, I think it was just like, hey, look, this is the journey we just went on, or whatever. But they did it in the form of a present. And then there was like the post-credit scene, where Rocket addresses the fact that they're in a special, and I was like, oh, that's new and fun. Um, but I also think that maybe that after credit scene is just sort of like not canon and just for funsies. Um, I said that Peter would just, or yeah, once again you were right and I was wrong. Um, you said that Peter would just be at the beginning and the end, and then I said that I thought he might appear via like phone calls or like hologram calls throughout the middle. And nope, he was in the beginning and the end. So you were correct once again.
Yeah, he was in it a bit more than I thought he would be, though. To be
Yeah,
fair, I'll give myself a couple of points off there, but yeah, but I am better than you. You're right. So.
yeah. Well, we've established that. We had agreed that there would be barely any Rocket, which was more or less true. He had a few like moments, but he didn't really factor into it at all. Um, we were wrong about Cosmo being introduced at the end. We thought that that would be like a randomly at the end. They'd be like, "Look, we found a dog," and they did it like right off the bat at the very
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
Um, and we were also wrong about our final theory. We were half right. We said that we did not think that Peter would go to Earth, which was true. He never goes to Earth in the special. But we also said we didn't think Kevin Bacon would make it to space.
Yeah, he did. So
And he did. He did, in fact, make it to
there's
space.
that. Good. Yeah, that was a big one. That one.
Yeah. So that was a big one that we got wrong, and that's okay. Um, I will say now we can get into like the more breaky downy aspect of things. Um, I want to talk about the animation for like a split second. We don't have to like talk about it. I want to talk about it from a breakdown standpoint. Which is that, and I knew this when I watched it, and then James Gunn confirmed it, and it made me so happy. The animation in the special is inspired by the style of Ralph Bakshi, which I thought was really cool. That's really all I want to say. In case people don't know who that is, he was kind of an animated film like fantasy pioneer. He was the first person to adapt the Lord of the Rings. He made an animated movie in the same style of animation that you saw in the special. He worked on the 60s Spider-Man show. He did a whole bunch of like independent stuff. But his work is really good, and he's kind of one of those like lesser known influential filmmakers. So I thought it was neat to see his animation style in an MCU project because that's not something I ever thought I would see. But I did want to throw that out there in case people were interested in going to see more of his work. I will also recommend he made a fantasy film called Wizards that was really, really cool and topical for its time in the 70s. Yeah, so I'll throw that out there. I don't know if Mary has anything to say about that. But I
Uh,
did kind of wanted to point it out.
no, it threw me off because I watched it and had the watermark over it, and sometimes, rarely, but sometimes they're not all the way finished, and so I'm like, is this just not finished? And they're actually gonna have like Michael Rooker back in it. It really threw me off for a second. I texted someone else who had seen it, and I'm like, "Is this supposed to be animated?" They're like, "Yeah." Are you high? I'm like, "I'm not." But like, I'm just really.
No,
Uh,
it's like a really weird style. It's not weird per se, but it's a really unique style of animation that he was like one of the first major people to use rotoscoping. So like for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's basically like they would film something with actors. Like they film it in live action and then they cell shade it and go over it with like a layer of animation. So it's like a weird half live action, half animation style. Um which is why like the movements are sort of look weird for animation, and might almost look like unfinished. It's supposed to look like that. It's just the style. But yeah. There's a great show on Amazon Prime called Undone that is currently using rotoscoping. It's got Bob Odenkirk, so watch it because he's great and the show is great. Um, yeah, so just wanted to say that aloud. We got a Jeff reference. Jeff is Steve Agee's character from Volume 2. He was a Ravager. Kraglin name drops him in the flashback.
oh,
He died. Yondu kills him in Volume 2 because he mutinies. But there's quite a few like Suicide Squad cast member Easter eggs in this special, and that's one of the first of them because he also is in Suicide Squad and Peacemaker as the guy with that John Cena makes fun of his beard all the time. I forget his
Oh,
character's name, but he also was like the on-set guy for King Shark, and it was like a whole thing. Multi-calendar. I'm just going down a list of like notes that I took. Mary, feel free to like hop in at any point in time. Um, I thought the concept of a multi-calendar was pretty neat. They like I don't they don't explain it, but they reference that's how they know about Christmas, and I like James Gunn likes to throw in a lot of things in these projects that are like easy scapegoats for how they know things, but I always think they're kind of fun. And I imagine a multi-calendar is just a calendar that keeps track of holidays on every planet.
yeah. I mean, which would
That's
be helpful because every planet has different years and days and shit.
yeah.
Society, culture, holidays. Yeah. So makes sense. I did not know they said the term multi-calendar, but checks out.
I will say, um, we've mentioned this already, but they bought Nowhere from the Collector, which reveals that the Collector is in fact still alive and out there. Um, that is a comic book thing. And honestly, I was surprised by it. I didn't expect them to actually go that route in the MCU. I thought that, like, because Nowhere in the MCU is very different from Nowhere in the comics. I mean, it's still like the inside of a Celestial's head, but the comics, it's more of a base. And in the MCU, it's more of like, it's a city, like a mining guild with a full blown museum and everything inside of it. Um, but in the comics, they do make Nowhere their base of operations for a little bit, and that is how Cosmo joins them because Cosmo is living on Nowhere in the comics as well. So I thought that was kind of like a fun, cool, unexpected pull from the comics. I didn't expect them to ever actually like live in Nowhere in the MCU. Any thoughts on this, Mary?
Not really. I mean, I was surprised at the beginning when they were like, "Yep, we bought this," and I'm like, "Okay, well, and that was like the first thing they said." So I was like, "They are setting up a little more than I thought." Although they didn't go, obviously more in depth, really past that. But yeah, it's one of those like plot moves that's like very abrupt. But at the same time, these movies are so far apart. Like, how was anything not abrupt? But yeah, wonder what the collector's doing. He has some good times. I named my rabbit after him. Well, the actor.
Your
But
rabbit's name is Collector.
well, no, I named the actor.
Benicio.
She's Benicio del Toro. But yeah. So now I thought. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know. We can get to this at a different theory Thursday down the line, but volume 3, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Other than apparently it just wants to make everybody cry. It's gonna like kill half of them. I don't know. So
This is something along those lines. They promised an emotional roller coaster. Um, Cosmo, Cosmo, the talking cosmonaut dog, is in this. We didn't get a lot of Cosmo. Um, Maria Bakalova is funny. She has like 3 bits of dialogue in this whole thing, but I do think she delivered them well. She was entertaining. I've had people asking me like what Cosmo's comic book origin is, and let me tell you, it is not as complicated as you think it is. Straight up, just a Russian dog who got shot into space. Things didn't go well. They ended up like going through like they had basically like a Fantastic Four origin. Like they just go through like a cosmic ray when their mission goes sideways and it turns them into like a talking dog with superpowers, and then they land on Nowhere and just end up there until adventures happen. Um, and that's pretty much it. That's like the whole. It's not like this crazy overcomplicated origin. I mean, the MCU might end up tying Cosmo into the High Evolutionary or something. Who's to say? But the comics is really not that insane. It's a pretty straightforward origin. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. There's not a lot going on. Also, I want to say that Cosmo has a really big role in the video game Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. Um, a video game I really love, and a video game I thought about a lot while watching this special. Um, Cosmo being an inhabitant of Nowhere, and Nowhere as a location, and it being the Guardian's base, plays a big role in the defeat of Kang the Conqueror in Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. So, listen, guys, Marvel Studios might be pulling from like a pretty big source material here. You might want to think about playing that video game sooner than later. That's all I have to say.
They think they're being sneaky.
They think they're being sneaky, but I know what they're doing.
They're like,
I can see it.
we know what nobody knows.
I know what nowhere knows.
Whoa.
Whoa.
The,
Whoa.
I get it. Faking emotions.
Yeah, faking emotions. I noticed that the Guardian ship is now called the Bowie, because the Milano is bye-bye, and I thought that was really fun. Um, before we get into some other Easter eggs, Mary, what at the very least, what were your thoughts on Kevin Bacon and his performance?
Fine. I don't know. I'm not like also not a huge Kevin Bacon person. Not for like the same reason I'm not a Christmas person, obviously, but like I don't have opinion on him. Not my generation, obviously.
He's not mine either.
Yeah, he's not. He's not a lot of people's generation anymore. Obviously, I know who he is. I've seen Footloose, I think. Like I don't know. So it was like fine, but I don't know. It wasn't like an anchor for me of like, yes, I hate all the Christmas stuff, but I like Kevin Bacon. No, not really.
Well, I will say that I didn't think when I asked you the question, honestly, I would have been shocked if I was like, "What did you think about Kevin Bacon?" and you were just like, "Kevin Bacon is my shining star." I would have been absolutely surprised.
Well, you were
I
not
know.
surprised today, so
um, no, he's not like someone where I'm like super pumped to see him show up in something. However, I will say I appreciated like the energy he brought to it. Like it seemed like he was having fun, and I liked that. Like it didn't seem like they forced Kevin Bacon to do this. Like it felt like he was fully on board, was just like, heck yeah, I'm gonna be myself in this wacky special, and we're just gonna like do the thing. And I will say I appreciate when an actor like brings that energy to a project. Because it was palpable. I could feel it. And I do like that it wasn't just him. I wrote next to him Kira Sedgwick, like they involved his wife, who's also an actress, who's been in a ton of things. But yeah, I thought it was fun, like just how into it and how much his life like was part of it. And I thought that was fun and interesting. A note I made is that when Drax and Mantis get to Earth, it's still, listen, I understand that the the level of which people react to aliens in the MCU is based on like the joke, and I get that. I get that from a writing standpoint. I would be lying if I said it doesn't bother me a little bit at this point in the MCU when there's an alien and people are like, "What? You're an
yeah.
alien?"
We kind of talked about that, like if they would be recognized, because clearly enough people know enough about the in-game battle, and they weren't at all whatsoever. Nor was there ever like a thought of like these are known people, like they were just like weird people who people assumed were dressed up, or just like ignored the fact that they were clearly not human and thought they were weird. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I I don't think they fully know how they want to handle that. 'Cause I think they like their like clean human earthness, but at the same time keep throwing that many aliens into it.
And like you have people who think Drax is like a God of War cosplayer, which like is funny. Like there's like a bunch of bits that came out of it that got a chuckle out of me. I just couldn't help but think the whole time, especially like Kevin Bacon himself being shocked by like the concept that there were like I don't know, he just seemed a little too surprised by it. I'm like, this is like a post blip world. You should not be this shocked by anything anymore. Like you should just be going along with the ride. Um, also, and I was excited to talk to you about this specifically because we've had so many conversations about like merch within the MCU canon and again like what people recognize and what they don't and all that fun stuff. Like there's a Captain America cosplayer that Mantis is really excited to see, which I thought was funny because on one hand Mantis is very sweet, so it makes sense she would just be excited to see someone who she once fought with. But on the other hand, I'm like, did she know? Like, did her and Steve ever? interact like ever.
I know, 'cause, I mean, I don't think we ever, I mean, as the viewer watching whatever it was, Infinity War in-game options, no, I'm 99.9% sure. So yeah, it is kind of funny. Like, when did she like have the time to befriend him enough to like get that excited to see him?
Yeah, I
Uh,
was shocked by that.
yeah. Um, I don't know, and it's funny because like I get her and Drax both have this like naive quality where they just don't seem to like understand a lot of like, especially on Earth, like things. Like, so she didn't realize that was just some random guy in a Captain America suit, and she like never realized it either because he like ran off. She's like, why is he doing that? And I
Yeah.
part of like they're not. I don't think they're supposed to be like dumb, but like they come across that way a little too much sometimes. Like, to the extent it's like, was it just like their personality kind of gimmick, which it usually is, or is it like, especially with Mantis, like, or is it like what's going on? I don't know. It's inconsistent, but
Yeah, and I can almost buy them like not understanding cosplay more than yeah, I see the point you're making. I for me like I was like, "Oh, I totally understand her not understanding the cosplay." I was just confused by again, like the level of which certain characters know each other, which probably not healthy for me to like think about that too much and I don't, but I do think it's fun to like joke about. Uh like I wrote down we see more Ant-Man merch. Again, like we know Quantumania is pushing the fact that he's a full-blown celebrity now.
they love. That's true. That is true. Forget about that because all of these like Phase 4 series and everything have just love Ant-Man. They
Yeah.
love Ant-Man. And he was like, I loved in Hawkeye when he was in the musical of the like Battle of New York when obviously
Yeah.
he was not there and like he's just a main player. Like, they love him. So I guess it does make sense because I keep forgetting that he is, a celebrity, whatever now, podcaster, probably
Yeah.
writing books.
And I also love that they are continuing to have to push the idea that Captain Marvel is also kind of a celebrity on Earth to justify Kamala like being obsessed with her. So there's also like a Captain Marvel cosplayer, even though again, as far as we know, she's fought on Earth like twice ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I
It
thought was
almost seems
funny.
like they like, and maybe they did, but I don't know. And this is kind of off topic. But with not Miss Marvel, well, that too, but Captain Marvel, it seems like they like almost wanted her in there sooner, but for some reason just couldn't find the time until right before Endgame, and so that
Well,
really fucked with the
I
whole stuff.
I know that it's like kind of common, well, not common knowledge, but it's been known for a minute that Kevin Feige wanted Captain Marvel in there since like Phase 2.
Hmm.
And then there was the whole situation with Ike Perlmutter, who did not believe that a girl superhero could sell toys, so he kept refusing. And by the time they ousted him and could get a movie in development, it was like late Phase 3 that
Yeah.
she shows up, um, which is a shame. But yeah, I fully agree. Like it does really feel like they want a universe where Captain Marvel has been around as long as the other Avengers and just like couldn't do it. Now they have to fudge it.
It really is kind of sad. Uh, yeah.
um oh man, what else? There's a whole bunch of fun stuff in there, but um GoBots. This is another thing that I obviously people were going to be talking about it. Um apparently GoBots exist, or they're like a canon species in like within the MCU, which is wild. That's an absolutely insane thing for the special to throw out there and then like breeze past. Like that is so crazy. Um for anyone at home who does not know, the GoBots they're Transformers, but they were like I honestly don't know if they came before or after, but they're basically like knockoff Transformers. They're like the non-name brand one version. And to some people, they love GoBots even more. And there's like this whole weird debate in that community. Whatever. The point being, they're like a franchise that exists separately from Marvel. Like I googled it too, just to like, triple check. Transformers have had comics written by Marvel. They've crossed over with different that it would almost make more sense if they confirmed the Transformers existed in the MCU. The GoBots are like not owned by like I don't know legally how that was possible. Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
When exactly? I don't even remember this happening. What was said?
Okay,
When?
so when they're in the same like montage where they see Steve and they see Ant-Man and Captain Marvel, like all that fun stuff.
Okay.
Drax sees someone dressed as one of the like main GoBots from the GoBots cartoon and freaks out and says he's gonna kill him, and Mantis has to hold him back and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, his cousin was killed by a GoBot." And then later on, it like cuts.
Robot.
No, she says GoBot, and then James Gunn like confirmed it on Twitter. It was like very strange.
I really thought you said robot. So okay, that makes sense why I did not know what you were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very confusing. And apparently GoBots exist like within the canon of the MCU, and that's the whole thing. But I enjoy that because that means that when Thanos snaps his fingers, 50% of the GoBots disappeared. And
Why you like it?
I like the concept that hypothetically they could make like a GoBots movie where they get snapped. Where like they have to deal with the blip.
Hunter wants to watch all kinds of creatures die in large quantities. So he gets excited to learn which new kinds of those creatures could be snapped away. Oh, fucked
I was
up.
just thinking like that's the only thing that's happened in the MCU thus far that would have also affected them, really. And I just think it's like strange. Like they would not know what's going on. And I also like to think that in Endgame, when Captain Marvel is like, "You guys got the Avengers, but other planets need my help too," that she flew to the GoBot home planet and was like helping the GoBots rebuild. It's plausible now. That's what I'm saying.
I'm, you know,
Or you
go.
don't seem as excited about this as me.
I don't know anything about GoBots, man.
You don't have to. It's just like picture Transformers.
I do. Yeah, I don't. I mean, yeah, they transform. I get that.
They're like less cool Transformers. That's why it's insane. Oh,
Transformers, robots in disguise. I remember that whole little thing. That whole ditty, animated years. Did I watch the animated Transformers? I don't think so, but it came on enough. I did know the song, and I still sing it to this day.
What are some other things I wrote down before we run out of time here? Oh, I wrote down that I love the I do really like the stuff between Peter and Mantis, like for those characters. I think it's good development, and I'm excited to see how they play off of it in Volume 3. You know, the Guardians movies all have like a very big family theme, but I do think it's funny that Peter does technically still have living well, at this point we don't know for sure, but as of the time of Volume 2, Peter still had living family on Earth that he just like does not care about. But now he's got Mantis, so it's good. Now he feels like he has family again. Um anyway, for whatever reason that may be, it could just be like memories. I know in Volume 1 they weren't like the nicest to him before he got kidnapped, so they might be dead to him in his mind, but I do just think it's funny that he's like they treat Mantis like it's his last living relative. I'm like his grandpa was still alive as of like a couple years ago. So I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, the whole sense I get is they're just like basically killing them off in the next one. So making them brother sister makes that more emotional. That's where I see that really playing in. I mean, they're going to make Rocket's thing, as they've said, very, 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 very sad. And of course, it's going to be very sad. It's going to be a little baby raccoon.
Yeah.
They're going to show him this little baby. Oh my God. I'm sorry, not a raccoon, but like you get it. Oh, I'm going to cry. I'll cry at that.
Oh, I'll cry too. I'm gonna cry like a little baby. Rocket's one of my favorite characters
God.
ever.
Okay.
Well, what was that?
I was trying to think of a scene from the special, but it was when they were like unwrapping Kevin Bacon, and Rocket was like, "We're not gonna hurt you," and then he calls him a raccoon, and then he just Yeah.
I do like that's a recurring thing that they established in the first movie and have like maintained all the way until now.
Yeah.
Speaking of Rocket, he gets the last big talking point. Before we wrap this gift up, I just had to go. I had to try for the pun. I'm sorry. Rocket gets Bucky's arm. Nebula gets
That
Bucky's
was
arm.
my favorite part.
Yeah.
I want it. I wish we have to actually deal with that in the real MCU, but it doesn't
We
really.
might. We don't know.
I think it'll be much further in the future that would probably even come up. So
Yeah.
I'd be dead by then. But like I did like that. That was probably my favorite part of the whole thing.
It was funny. I know, again, James Gunn is very online, so he's had a lot to say about the special since it came out. He did say that, like, in his head, as far as he's concerned in the canon, Nebula straight up was just feeling the Christmas spirit. So she flew to Earth while everyone else was doing their thing, beat up Bucky, took his arm, and left, and then gave it to Rocket. And honestly, I'm 100% okay with that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm 100% okay with that.
I would watch that one. Yeah. I mean, I watched this one too, but
Yeah.
I feel like that also would have been entertaining as a special. Maybe there's a secret double feature.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, okay. Well, I'm glad that you like it. I will say that going forward, I feel like the MCU has two options with this. They can either one, it's like gonna be a goofy joke that turns into like a whole thing later, where in a later project he gets a new arm and there's like something to it. And then
Sorry, just naming fictional metals they haven't used yet.
that's not impossible. And then the other option is that the next time we see Bucky, he just has a different arm and they blow past it. And maybe there's like a line where Sam is like, "Hey, dude, that's a different arm," and then Bucky's like, "Yeah, Nebula came down and just like took my arm, so I had to get a new one," and then they just move on.
That's true because they might know each other. I mean, like that just who knows who cracks me up. But the idea that Nebula would roll up and Bucky would be like, "Oh, hey, I know you," and she could do the same thing, or she came and he was like, "You can just take it. They're making me a new one right here. It's fine." That could have been it. Adamantium.
It would be funny if we saw another project that was set like the next time Bucky shows up, that project is set concurrently, and there's just like a scene that has nothing to do with the rest of the movie where Nebula just appears and is like, "I'm gonna kick the crap out of you for your arm," and Bucky's like, "No, you can just have it," and she's like, "Oh, that was unexpected," and then she leaves.
It's called friendship.
It is called friendship.
The spirit of Christmas, Hunter. I don't know if you know that.
I am somewhat aware.
Family, but also friendship. Sometimes, like, it's the whole fucking romance genre, Christmas romance movies. That's the whole thing. That's all you got. That's all you can get from it. Or watch Klaus on Netflix. It's great.
Well,
very sad.
I think a good place to wrap this up is with Mary's endorsement of Klaus on Netflix.
Very unrelated to the main point of this video. Yeah. Yeah.
Mary, I know you're not a fan of this special, but before we wrap up, I am going to follow our normal loose structure. And I will say, is there anything else we didn't talk about from this special that you feel like is worth talking about, or you wanted to bring up, or that you like wanted to get out there while this is still happening?
No, because I did watch it and I went and then I specifically just didn't have anything to do, like, early social media reactions. I said nothing.
I figured that would be your response, but I did want to extend the offer should you have something in there.
Do you think you should probably seek some help for your tree issue, your fictional young adult tree?
Well, maybe he's gonna die too, and then I'll cry double.
Yeah, well, it seems like a deeper issue in general. I'm just saying.
Swole Groot?
Yeah, you're interested in him, yeah.
I'm interested in like how things work, and I feel like I want like a how it's made. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But it's just Groot making paper mache for like 2 hours. in a dark room by himself.
Okay.
Oh boy. Okay, well with that, I have been one half of your host, Hunter.
I've been the other half of your host, Mary.
Thank you so much for watching the Universal Church of Truth breakdown of the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. We will potentially, maybe, probably, sort of, who knows, be back for the next thing that we want to make a video about. So stay tuned. Like, subscribe, comment, shout us out. I keep saying that. You guys keep not doing it. So, do it. Just as Nike says, just do it.
Wow.
I'm not even getting paid for that.
Wow.
You're welcome, Nike.
He's gonna get paid for it now. That was Oscar worthy.
That was Oscar. This was an hour-long setup for that endorsement. All
Totally.
right.
No.
Goodbye, everybody.